today. I was actually trying to get my new camera to work, but that's okay. No new camera today, but we got some hacking, even better, right? Sounds like we're gonna have a few people in chat today, so feel free to hop in there and talk. And yeah, we'll answer questions as we're hacking away. I'm gonna go ahead and get set up while we do that. One thing I will tell you, I would absolutely love to do some ICS hacking tonight if we can make it work. We'll see. I kept trying to do it while I was at DEF CON this past week, but had some issues. The network there is always funky. If you haven't tuned in, I do have a podcast. I have two podcasts actually. One on One called the Mike Small Podcast, where I just talk about interesting stuff to me, sometimes cybersecurity related, sometimes not. And then I also have the C Suite Cyber Podcast with my wonderful co host, Anthony, also known as AJ. See, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I think, maybe. So, also added some lights. I need to fix some of this because I got this light above me now, so I'm more lit up, but it's also showing in the back glass back there. Tough times, man. I hate lighting. Let's see, I'm gonna get zoomed in here real quick if I can. Let's see if it'll let me. What is this camera called? It's called something. Hypervision. That's what it is. Sorry for that blackout. We're zoom it in and then there we go. I don't know. I might not like this. My other camera I had where it was nice, framed good. We'll leave it like this. Whatever. Whatever. All right. So we get Callie rocking. Let me get closed out of all this craziness we had open before. Yeah, we were doing. I have so many windows open right now from our last session. Sheesh. Way to put me to work, everyone. I had someone ask today if it was okay if they could join, even though they haven't really done any technical hands-on stuff. Answer is absolutely join, and I'm happy to answer any questions about anything. So, like I was on Cyber with Ben this last month, and we just answered stuff like roadmap into offensive. Was it offensive security? No, analyst. SOC analyst role. But yeah, happy to answer any questions about anything really. That's what I'm here for. I'm hoping these sessions turn into where people can just ask questions about maybe where they're at in their journey, which I'm very happy to do. But yeah, this is super informal. It's kind of I use it as an opportunity one day a week to one, have some fun and hack, and then two, also answer questions and help people out, maybe be like a quasi mentor for people. So yeah, feel free to do that. I'm always happy to help people. And I also love watching people in their journey in cybersecurity. That is a lot of fun for me. I have a lot of people that I taught early on, and now they're in leadership positions doing some really cool stuff, and we stay in touch. Try hack me. Trying to think, I was like, what side are we doing? Let's try hack me. Try hack me. I know I'm not sharing my screen. Give me a second. Let me log into all my stuff, and then I'll share my screen so we can get to rocking. And I'll be trying to catch Discord and stuff. If you're on Discord and you're on here, just message in here, and I'll be able to see it. It's hard to manage all the windows, but this one I have everywhere we're streaming. So we're streaming today on was it Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, maybe somewhere else. But yeah, just chat and wherever you're at. LinkedIn actually doesn't come in here. If you're on LinkedIn, hop on one of the other ones like YouTube. For whatever reason, we learned that last time. Um, but yeah, pop in here, chat, and I'll be able to get to your questions pretty quick. No biggie. Yeah, I will tell you, I was up at DEF CON last week, and it's crazy. It's massive now. Lots of stuff going around, lots of stuff going around. Yeah, there are bugs going around, but lots of stuff, lots of stuff people were talking about, a lot of really cool topics. And yeah, I really focused on ICS stuff this year just because I like to focus on something I haven't done every year. I've done some ICS. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in it, but it's just unique in its own right. And I sat in talks where um, people were just talking about different facets of it, like incident response in ICS is crazy. And really, it's because you don't get logs like you normally would. So, like if you think incident response, you're thinking stuff like, why is my password not working? You think about stuff like your normal endpoint logs and things like that. And that's not really the case. Wow. I always have trouble typing in passwords as I'm trying to talk. But yeah, incident response is weird, very bizarre in ICS. So that's for those of you who don't know, it's industrial control system. So this is stuff like you have in like manufacturers, utility companies, things like that. Those small microcontrollers, pretty much, and they're super bizarre because they're usually out of date. One of the things I learned that I didn't realize before was that, and I think this is an executive at GE. She said that the average lifespan of one of these devices is 30 years. How insane is that? 30 years that, and there's really minimal updates, minimal types of security for these things. So it's kind of insane, the companies that have to protect stuff that's that old, that fragile. Pretty wild to me, anyways. It's just pretty cool to hear about that. But yeah, what I was talking about with the logs, yeah, they have stuff that's more like sys logs that you would have in like network hardware, things like that, versus like endpoint logs that you would have in say like a Windows host like sysmon, things like that. It's just not as verbose, so it's really hard to track stuff down in those types of environments versus in the ICS environments versus a normal environment with mostly endpoints. Very challenging. Very challenging. All right, let me share my screen so that everyone can see. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. As I don't know where that's from. It's from somewhere. Yeah. So good question. So my advice for that question is don't be afraid of suggestions. So, and it's all about learning efficiency to me because there is absolutely an incredible amount of information you have to learn in general. And a lot of people think, I shouldn't get a hint for this thing so that I can learn it. Well, as long as you're taking notes, which was a huge thing on the last session we did like 2 weeks ago before DEF CON, people weren't taking notes. So they're having to basically redo all these puzzles, all these problems multiple times in a row, which is not efficient at all. But with the guides, it's okay to get a slight nudge, right? Don't use it as a crutch to go all the way through, but don't be afraid to use it to get a slight nudge. And the reason I say that also is because sometimes, and we've had it on these streams where it's just something stupid. It's not working the way it's supposed to when it was originally developed. And we would be sitting there chasing our tails for hours for nothing. We're getting nothing out of that effort. So I start getting the feeling like something's messed up. So I'll look at a hint and be like, oh, I'm doing that exactly like that, and it's not working. Um, and then I'll just either play with it to figure out why it's not working, if it's worth the time. If not, I just move on. But don't be afraid. One of the things I did when I started out working through these labs is maybe I get stuck somewhere for like 30 minutes or so. I'll look at a nudge, like what's the very next step? And then I would keep going as far as I could until I got stuck again. And I would do the same thing, get a nudge. But you just want to learn as much as possible without just having stuff spoon fed to you as well. So I'm a big believer in that struggle is what helps us learn the best. If we're just given the answers, like some people just sit there and follow the guide 100% all the way through, and there is a time and place for that. Maybe you're brand new, you've never touched a command line, and your goal is to just learn how to maneuver through the command line and just follow these things and learn what's possible. Totally okay to do that. But if you're like more advanced and you're doing that and it's not in line with what your goals are for that study session, it's not efficient. So just think about what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to learn stuff, just mix and match whatever path. Works best for your style. We all learn differently also. So that's you always have to take that into account. My style is going to be way different than your style. Hmm. So question today is, do we want to continue down the path of hacking, or do we want to do some blue side stuff? Hmm. I'm kind of tempted to keep moving forward with hacking stuff. Good question though. Thank you. Thank you for the question. Keep them coming. Let's see what we got here. Relevant. And so this is kind of from the mindset of a pen test. Okay. Additionally, the client has the following scope of allowances, any tools, locate and note all vulnerabilities, submit the flags. Yeah, this sounds like a good one. If we want to, the mayor. Oh, cool. I think he was over with TCM at one point, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of good stuff coming out of there. That's funny. It's called relevant. That makes sense because he's tried to make it super relevant. Let's see what else we have here. All right. There are some challenges here. Let's see. I don't really care about subscription. Type blue. Blue seems like a fun type. Let's see what we got. SQL dump. That sounds like SQL. Mac Hunt. I actually haven't done a lot of Mac stuff. Ironside, perform a compromise assessment on a Linux host and identify the attack footprints. Maybe. A lot of Linux. What's funny is I actually haven't done a ton of Windows Blue Team stuff. Most environments don't have a ton. So I never get to do it. So I always have to lean on my offensive mindset whenever I do any of that. And think like the bad guy, which is one of the benefits of learning how to hack stuff is you learn how to think like the bad guy. It definitely helps. That might be fun. Web shell. It's an easy one. It's just 30 minutes. It always takes us twice as long because I'm sitting here explaining stuff as we go through it. Analyze network traffic related to unauthenticated file share access. I hate web traffic stuff. I did GCIA and I've been scarred since that exam. Packet analysis, they haunt my dreams. What is the mayhem one? That's a medium one. Just trying to find something fun. See, you provided evidence.zip. What kind of evidence do we have? Forensic items, SID. Attacker printed a flag. I don't know. What are we feeling like? We got a couple of people here. What do you want to do? You want to do offensive? You want to do defensive? What do people care about today? I bet people are going to say offensive. Let's hack. I'm here to hack. I'm here to hack, Mike. Oh, no comments? Come on. So one thing I will say, I have kind of a rule for these. I won't do a new room because I don't want to spoil it. So I won't do a new one. That is off the board. All right. No suggestions. I think we might just do offensive one simply so that I can get through this because I don't know, because we started it. So why not? All right, the mayor. Let's see what you got. We'll go ahead and start the machine. So because this one is designed to be done like a pen test, we'll talk through it like a pen test. I'm sure people are here for that in mind, or with that in mind. Hey, I want to see some hacking. I'm interested in pen testing. It's the sexy thing. Yeah, yeah, it is good. Cool. Yep. Thanks. Thanks, unknown. Um, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of stuff you learn in the real world that is different than the try hack me world. Like, for instance, attacks I would do in here, I would not do in the real world, certain ones, because they could lead to system instability. But here in this world, it's YOLO, understand the attack, which is really what you want to be able to do with all these. Before you run something ever in a real engagement, you need to understand what could possibly go wrong? What are you getting out of this attack? And those types of things so that you don't accidentally do something bad, like take down a very important database or whatever, take down a system, launch malicious code environment. Yeah, some people will just run anything, and there's backdoors or bad payloads in these. Like, for instance, you may get something off of why is my brain not working? It never works on these. Like, what exploit DB? There you go. You get something off of exploit DB. There may be a payload from the creator in there. So if you run it as is without updating it, you just gave a shell to this guy or gal. Hey Ty. Um, and yeah, so even though the C2 is probably not up anymore, but still, right? You should always understand what you're running. Um, Always understand what you're running, especially if it's in a client's environment. But in a lab, we can kind of get away with it just a little bit. All right. So, as with every assessment, we need to do some discovery, some enumeration, whatever you want to call it. And we're doing that with Nmap. Nmap is the classic tool for this, although there are plenty of other tools out there that do that as well. This is just the one I grew up with. I'm very familiar with, so I use it. It works for what I need it to work for. And so we got a couple of switches here. This is, you'll hear me say that word switch. It's these things, switch arguments, relatively the same. And it's just, we're just telling it how exactly to run. So in this case, I'm saying don't ping. We know it's there. We know it's up. So just do this thing. And T4 is the speed. It's just adjusting the timeouts, and it'll give up on scanning a port earlier than it would with the default. The default's T3, and speed can make a difference. So we had a case, a recent relevant case. Well, I think it was last time we ran this, we ran it with T5 and we missed the port. And then we ran it with T4 or T3 and the port showed up. So sometimes it will screw you a little bit. Um, but you just have to be aware. So part of this whole journey in cybersecurity is understanding your tools so you know where there could be issues and you're kind of braced and ready for those issues. That's all. You just want to understand your tools. So we have a few ports here. Some pretty common ones. These we see just about every time on Try Hack Me. We have port 80, which is web. 135, 139. These are all in 445. These are all related to net BIOS type stuff. Geez, it just pasted. So annoying. Anyways, they're related to SMB, net BIOS type stuff. Um, these are all of these may show up on an interview, and they may show up in some of your beginner certifications as well. So if you're working through Try Hack Me, start memorizing these before you take your exam, before you do any interviews. Make sure you have a list of the most common ports, and you can get them from like a Sec Plus study guide. I think Professor Messer has like a good list, and most interviews go off of that list, and of course they're going to pop up on the exam as well. And then finally, 3389 is remote desktop. I don't remember what WPT stands for. It's remote desktop is what it is. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just doing the up key here to move through these. I do want to do a more verbose scan here. So what you'll see me do is pretty in line with what I would do in the real world, which is I'll do a very quick scan first, very cursory, so I have something I can start manually testing, and then I'll run something very verbose after that. And so we will. I'll do the -A here because it does a lot of the stuff for me. So it's going to be running scripts against it. It's going to give me OS. It's going to give me version detection as well. I can already have a good guess that it is Windows, but which version we don't know. OS or -O, not OS. -O should give us that. So we're going to let this cook in the background, and then we'll start manually interrogating. That's a good word for you. Interrogating. The service. Zoom in. Yes. Sorry. I've been away for 2 weeks. How's that for you? Ooh, that still looks kind of small on my screen. Maybe. Let me know if that's good for you. Unknown. Thank you for bringing that up. Do this, and I'll try to get all my other screens. We want to do this 80. My other screen zoomed in for you as well. So what this means is that this is, I didn't mean to click on that. This is a default page, which means there may be an alternative port here. Oh, perfect. Yeah, just let me know if you have any issues at all. Some screens, I have a bigger screen here, so it may look bigger to me than it does you. But we'll fix it. So what we're seeing here is a default screen for IIS, which is Windows Web Server, which means to me, so I want you to get in the habit too as you're going through this stuff. Think about what does this mean to me? What does this mean on the target system? So we know it's running, but there may be another service running somewhere else. So sometimes we can see that it's on a different port, right? There's an alternative port running another um, web service, or there is a different page, perhaps, or a different subdomain. There's a bunch of goofy things that could be it, but we know that there is a web service on here. We're not going to be able to hack much here. We're going to have to look around this, and there may be another entry point for us. Like we can't really do much here. Um, one thing we do want to note with this at some point, and we probably will get this with our other scan, is what is the version of this? Because certain IIS versions are more vulnerable than others. So that could be an entry point. So with that in mind too, as I'm talking, I'm just trying to talk out loud what I'm thinking. And every time I see something, I start thinking about attack paths that could lead or that this particular thing could lead to. And what I'm doing internally is kind of ranking them and what's more likely than others, and that's the route I go down. Because you only have so much time in a real pen test. I have 3 hours to do a lab, maybe less, depending on what I'm trying to fit in here. So speed is always a necessity with this type of thing. I said that kind of weird. It's all good. Um, and there may be other routes here. So we got a server 2016. That's interesting. Um, so what we have here, this is that second scan, the last scan I wrote. So as you can see, we got way more information. Like I said, way more verbose. We have our version number that we're looking for. We have an IIS version number. I don't think this one is particularly vulnerable. So we'll see. I'm not sure if this is, I can't think off the top of my head if it is. We can look real quick. And when I'm just looking for exploits, this is what I do. I just search and say, give me an exploit. And what I'm looking for is I really don't necessarily care about the Microsoft ones. I'm looking for details like this, where it's from something interesting, like Exploit DB usually has something that you can actually launch against a target server. So server 2016, that's interesting. Elevation of privilege. So this is an interesting one here. This would throw a lot of new people off. See this? This isn't commented out. So if you try to run it, it will break here automatically at the start. Something to look out for. Again, while we always look at our code. One thing we don't see here is what do we get out of this, right? Before I spend time screwing around with an attack, what do I get out of it? So this one says local. So this isn't good for us. We don't have any access to the system. So a local attack won't work. And this is elevation of privilege, which means we have to already have access. So we may utilize this next, but it's not going to get us anywhere right now. So we need to move on to something else. Oh, Eternal Blue. All right. Let's see. I know Eternal Blue can get us where we need to be, but we need to make sure. So this is 2016 x64, so we may be able to use it. And Eternal Blue is one of the ones that I may or may not run in a customer's environment. I may delay it or chat with the customer before I execute it because it can cause some system instability. And one of the things we want to note here that it is remote. So we are remote because we're not on the system yet. And I know this will automatically get us local admin privileges off the bat. So this is a really good one. If you see it, it is a good one. You won't see it very much in the real world anymore. It's a pretty oldie, but goodie. I think the last time I've seen it in a client's environment is probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But you'll see it a lot in CTF environments, especially for new people, because it's really easy. It really is. You just load up Metasploit and run it, so it's pretty easy. So it's a quick win for new people. Um, we can give it a whirl. The crappy thing is if we do this, we'll be done because you get local admin out of it. So that's a good time. I'll zoom in for everyone also, by the way, in a second. Let's do some zoom in. I wonder if I can, there's probably some defaults I can do so that it's always at the right zoominess. There we go. All right, so for those of you who don't know, there is an attack framework called Metasploit. Sorry for the noise if you hear a motorcycle outside. There is an attack framework called Metasploit that I think Rapid7 now has control over, if I remember correctly. And it basically, there's a bunch of exploits loaded in there that you can just kick off, and it makes life easier. I leverage it if I can. It even has like your payloads. So if you're trying to basically get a shell, and that may be a foreign word to people who are new here. If you're trying to get a shell, they have stuff built in. It won't work in the real world unless they don't have antivirus. But it's a good place to start when you're starting out. So how do we kick it off? We just say MSF console or MS yeah, console. I don't know why I wasn't showing up. And this will start it up. So it looks super hackery, hackish. I don't know, whatever word you want to use. So you can see here that there's 2,500 exploits. Yeah, rock. Yeah, awesome. Right now, we need to look for ours. I know there is an eternal blue one in here, so we'll just search for it. I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. And it's 0 here, so MS17, 010. 17 is the year, and then this is the number that the exploit was discovered. This one came out of the NSA also, by the way. So good times. So we're just going to say use 0. Now we have it. We'll do show options. And show options. So this is where we start configuring the exploit. Every exploit has to have some sort of configuration. So typically we need to tell, if it's a remote one, we need to tell it what our victim is. And if we're looking to get a shell back, so a shell is how we're going to be able to communicate and run commands remotely on a system. If we're going to get a shell back, we need to tell it who to call back to, which will be us, and what port to utilize, which could be anything that's not currently being used. And after that, we can run it. So let's go ahead and get it set up for execution. So we'll copy this. All I did was copy the port also, by the way, in case you couldn't see it. So we're going to say sets r host, and then command shift or control shift V, enter. Port will leave. So this is where it should be at. Domain, we don't really care about. And these here, these aren't required, so we're not even going to mess with them. Don't need them. Verify architecture is just going to do this on the back end and make sure it should work on the system. And these are just configurations. You can leave them the same until you learn more about it. And lhost is going to be us, lhost. Tune 0, that's just the, shoot, I forgot to set. Use set. Tune 0 is just the interface, so I'm saying use whatever port is assigned to my tunnel interface. So no biggie. And the port, as long as it's not being utilized, we're good to use it. I don't think it's currently being utilized, but it will tell us if it is. And should be good. Says target is not vulnerable. SMB login error occurred while connecting to the IPC $ tree. So they could have made it where it's not vulnerable, potentially, where it looks like it meets the requirements, but it's not vulnerable. So could be. No biggie. I probably should have read this and see. Let's see. Let me zoom in here for everyone. Oh, I did zoom in. Okay, cool. Let's see. Assessment in the virtual environment. Client has asked. It's more than one path to root. Nothing in this requires Metasploit, but we're using Metasploit. I think it's a good tool to start out with. Okay, cool. That's all he said. One thing I do want to make sure we're doing with this, I do want to do a full port scan in case something else relevant comes up. And I think what we'll also do is go ahead and check to see if there's guest or null credentials here. So we'll do both. And none of that other stuff looks good to me. So we're going to do all ports with a -p dash, as quick shorthand for scan everything. Hey, Ty, feel free to let me know if you need me to explain anything. I know you're pretty new to this type of thing, so happy to dive in and talk about something in particular. If you're like, what the heck is he saying? He's speaking a foreign language right now. So yeah, feel free. One of the things you'll start learning to do too as a practitioner is not diving into everything. So you're going to end up getting a ton of data as you're doing a pen test, as you're doing analysis work, whatever it is in cybersecurity. You're going to have a ton of data thrown at you. And really, our job is just data wrangling, identifying what's important, what's relevant, what's not relevant. and then focusing on that stuff. So here we have a lot of stuff here that's not of particular interest to me, like some of this stuff. We do have a guest account, so that's good. That is relevant to us. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of data, not necessarily relevant. And like I said earlier, we only have so much time, so we need to be choosy with what we spend that time on. All right, let's go. And start rocking here. So one of my favorite tools to use for this is Enum. Excuse me, for Linux. Hiccuping here. And it will attempt to log in for us. Again, just copy the IP address. And this is great. So this is a good way to enumerate some stuff. So really when I'm looking at this, if I can get a list of shares, golden. If I can get a domain name, we already got the domain name. It would be a win. If we get a list of users, it would be a win. So those are all good things. So it looks like we did not get anything out of this. What a bummer. Thought we had guests though, which means we do need to do. I think this is the one that doesn't do guest, which means guest, any account will get you guest access, but you have to give it an account, where a null session is just everything's blank. So slightly nuanced. And we'll do help. I'm gonna feed it a username and password. Let's see if it helps. Yeah, so it's doing null there. So we're gonna say deck u Mike. See if it makes a difference. Some things are picky like that. So this is kind of one of those things. Server allows sessions using username Mike. So we did get a session, it just didn't get us anything. And we got a different response as well, which is interesting. Not particularly useful per se here, but interesting. One other thing we can do, yeah, ask whatever questions you want. Feel free. One of the things we can keep doing is, I was hoping to get a list of shares and we didn't get any shares. Usually we get those shares in Nmap as well. Up here, usually we'll see a dump of shares and we didn't get that. So it may allow guest for some stuff, but obviously it didn't lead to anything. So that's not going to be a good route to go down at the moment. Another thing we can do is look at, so we still have web services we can dig into. And there could be, where there's a different page, a different subdomain there. We didn't actually get a domain situated. Well, we have a host name, so we may be able to use that. Because sometimes these blocks, why I pause to think about it is sometimes you have to add them to a host file so that it can route properly. And we may need to do that, but we'll see. We'll go ahead and throw another tool at it. We'll throw Nikto and see if we get anything with that. So Nikto is like a quick little thing. Web uh, web app scanner, and it can give us some few things. Like a lot of times, it'll give us stuff in the headers. It'll give us some versions. Sometimes it'll give us pathways. Not a ton of help, but it is somewhat helpful. All right, looks like we have a question here. I'll throw it up on the. Nope, you're good. I'll throw it up on the page, maybe if I can get it to. Show own stream. There you go. So looks like he's working on or she is working on a cybersecurity certificate right now. Wanted to get started on Try Hack Me. Yeah, good plan. Should have put my resume, every path I complete, and also work on some Pico CTF and so on. Looks like they're kind of in a time crunch. We'll put this on the screen. So the second part to the question. Yeah, so I would. So I would put the paths on your resume. So what I typically advise people is there's like other education and training section usually, and I'll have them, people I've mentored, put that under there because you should be getting credit. And as a hiring manager, I love to see that type of stuff. If you don't have any training, um, I may not even talk to you if you don't have any additional training because I like to see people who are going kind of outside of school and and just normal certifications to learn. So people, and I'll tell you why. So people who just do school, I have found that most students don't learn nearly what they need to learn in school alone, and there's a lot lacking there. And that sucks for a lot of people in school. You do need that piece of paper, unfortunately. But most schools just don't have great programs. And so you have to rely on other things to fill in that gap of knowledge. And so try hack me and things like that do that for you. And also certifications. Sec Plus is a great foundational certification, but you're just learning the theory. You're not doing anything hands-on. So there's a gap in capability there, or a skill gap, and that's where try hack me or hack the box fill in. You need some hands-on stuff. Now, I say all that to say the reason why I find those important is because what I'm doing as a hiring manager, and I've talked to others, we're looking for people who are going to be easier to teach. It's going to take less effort for them to get up to speed, and nothing does that more than them already having a great foundation of knowledge and lots of hands-on knowledge as well. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it. Get your Google certificate. I would also look at one of the other ones as well. Google Cybersecurity Certificate is a great foundation. It's not super well recognized as an industry standard certification. At least I haven't seen it in a lot of job listings. I did a search a few weeks back to see what was in there. Sec Plus is still kind of the reigning king in that area. Um, Sec Plus is, yeah, thanks. They were saying preach. Too funny. Yeah, so Sec Plus is a really good one. Again, it's just theory, but still does teach you a lot of stuff that you need to know in order to do stuff like I'm doing here. With that, you should know what protocols are. You should know what a host name is. You should know how DNS works in theory. And so when you get into here, you got a lot less to learn. It's kind of like where, doctors go to school, they're spending 6 or 7 years to just learn theory about the human body before they start cutting people open and working on real people. So, you know, it is necessary, and a lot of us would like to get our hands dirty sooner than later. It just takes time. So be patient, but don't be afraid to hop on the stream, hop on other streams, hop on Try Hack Me, and learn it. So yeah, hopefully that answered your question. And yeah, great question. Great question. So it looks like we have an interesting um, path here. Couldn't find my words. So I'm going to keep this up because I like to keep kind of track of what I've looked at. This looks like a slash in though. This may just be a new line character. It just had an interesting name, CTF 239. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. Yeah, I definitely encourage people to get certifications before they get out of university, out of college. Otherwise, we're just waiting. And I was talking with Ty today, who's in here right now, and it's all about time efficiency. You only have so much time, so some things are just more important than others. Again, it's your path. He was asking whether or not he should go the help desk route. There's a lot of influencers, just a lot of people in general that say, yes, do it. I'm not one of those people. I think it's a waste of time. Not a waste of time. It's not an efficient use of your time. I think there are better ways to do that. If you're like one of those people that are just really diving into these labs and getting experience, and you can kind of build that knowledge base faster, where you have some people that like to take their time, which is cool, right? We all have our own journeys in life. If you're like one of those slower people, or you have kind of roadblocks in your life that you just have to deal with, right? Some not everyone has the same life circumstances. Help desk route may be the way to start, so you can at least get your feet wet and start getting some experience on the resume. For others, like for him, I was recommending that he get into the vet success program, or at least apply if he can get into that. That's going to be a huge head start for him, where he can get 3 certifications, and that's going to really fill out his resume. So it just depends. But yeah, I definitely recommend getting the certifications. Depending on where you're at, your school may also subsidize the cost of the certification. So that is super nice. Where, instead of, what are they, $500 or something for the Sec Plus, it could be free. It could be like $30, but it's subsidized. Also, something I pointed out to Ty today, also, check out your library, your local library. They may have the study guides, so you don't have to drop 40, 50, $60 on a study guide that you'll never use after you take the exam. So just use your resources. There's lots of really great content out there for studying as well. So this is kind of interesting. We got a black page, not a I do not exist page. Let's see if I do slightly different. So same, interesting. So the new line character may be screwing stuff up, or it may just be the way it's reacting. So I think they're just trying to throw us off with this, which CTFs do, or stuff like this will do. Ooh, what a tangent. You'll get me talking. Yeah, if there's any questions on here I can't get to, or you want more insight about, happy to bring someone onto the podcast or bring on someone here to give you their insight. I've got a lot of friends. I've been in the industry for almost, well, over a decade at this point. And so happy to bring different perspectives in to uh, give you that real insight. I think that's what a lot of people want to hear is like, what do the people who actually make the decisions think about these different things? All right. So we do have a couple of things here. So we have another port with a web service. So what I did here, because I've been rambling, we have new people in here. I ran a full port scan. So this is all TCP port. So if you don't know, if you haven't done the Sec Plus, there are 2 different types of protocols here. We have UDP and TCP. Because I didn't specify otherwise, this is TCP. So this is the one with the full handshake, and it gave us something we did not know before, which is that we have a new web port, another web service running. So let's go check this out. I'm trying to find, here we go. And how we specify ports in here is we just do a colon and then we do the port. So it's the same thing. Let me get Cherry Tree up so that we can start tracking this stuff. This is all our old stuff here. Really that. Let's do that. And we have web services on port 80, but we haven't really seen anything else. And then we have typical SMB ports, and we also have RDP. So we can't really do anything with RDP yet. RDP requires credentials. I don't really know a ton. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know of any exploits to go through RDP directly as a initial access besides password guessing. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, we'd have to have access already. So, yeah, RDP is kind of out. SMB is still there, but we may need to be more creative. And now we have two ports. So we're kind of expanding what we call the footprint of this particular organization. These look to be just like MSRPC, which is just kind of whatever, for the most part. We don't really get a ton out of it. We didn't get a lot of other stuff either. We got a net BIOS name. We got everything else is exactly the same. These two are responding the exact same, these two web services. We can look to see if IIS 10 has any exploits. And again, we're looking for something that is public and that is remote accessible. And maybe this is one. So this is IIS WebDAV. Let's take a peek in here. So this is a remote one. C script, W script. So VB script. This is this is kind of a scripting language in Windows. I don't think this is going to be for us because this is the 10 and 11 are for Internet Explorer. This is, it says IIS, but not a particular version. Let's see, an attacker that is able to run such a script in any application that embeds the VB script engine may be able to control execution flow and execute arbitrary code. This includes all versions of Internet Explorer. Let's see, here's one particular to IIS. If the active server pages are enabled, ASP, VBS can be executed in active server pages. An attacker would need to find an ASP page that accepts an attacker supplied regular expression in a string or be able to inject script into the page in order to trigger. So, yeah, we don't have that yet. So it's a maybe possible. We have to do more than this, right? We can't do anything with this in particular. We need to kind of identify more stuff, basically. So let us continue down that route then. So this is kind of just moving along. We're not really getting a ton here. So I'm going to terminate that. And what I want to do is we'll do dir b and we'll run it against this. So dir b, what it's going to do is it's going to look for additional pages. If I can get the syntax correct. It's going to look for additional pages we're not seeing because sometimes you'll find that like the root page is this, which is like the default page, and then further in or there have other things opened up that you can get to. Most organizations, not the case. This is just there, but they have a web service running on another port on the system. They just left that up. I actually haven't done something like this in the real world. It's mostly CTFs that I've seen where this can lead to something else, but it is what it is. Play the game, as they say. Any other questions out there? I do want to point out too, while waiting on any questions and waiting on this to run, that yeah, if you noticed, I had bad syntax. One of the key skills for you to learn in anything cybersecurity related is learning how to read your errors. So your errors tell you a lot about what you did wrong. So if you can't figure out how to do this, you're going to be in trouble because syntax is so syntax, the way you give a command to the program, is pretty picky for pretty much everything because most tools you're going to be using are homebrewed. They're not like supported by any major corporation, just some hacker put it together for someone else to use. So there's not a ton of error handling and not a lot of debugging, a lot of whatever. They're just there. But they do give you at least errors so that you know what's busted and that you can fix it. Now, the other reason why you should understand errors is you're going to be running a lot of scripts, a lot of code. You're going to get errors and you need to fix it. You may even at some point start writing your own. And the only way to fix those errors or to get it to work is to fix errors, to troubleshoot, to debug. So, very, very, very good skill to learn is to just read errors. Um, and what's funny, a lot of people don't realize is that whenever you get an error, so like the base of most exploits or the most yeah, I guess exploits is the way to put it, is that there's an error. And so they are basically taking advantage. They created an error and now they're taking advantage of that error and forcing it to do something it was never designed to do. So just some handy information for you. So errors are great. Like when you start doing SQL injection, we get errors. We want to see errors. And then we want to see SQL, actual SQL errors. And that means we can have some fun. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. So I wonder if there is SNMP open on this. We didn't do a UDP scan. I'm just trying to think of quick wins we haven't messed with yet. And we also didn't finish looking through 2016 exploits. So Eternal Blue doesn't work. Or maybe it just wasn't designed to work with well, their version maybe wasn't designed to work with Metasploit. It just seems weird that it's up and it's not being utilized, to be honest. Yeah, typically you see this specific Windows version and it's vulnerable, but it's all good. Let's see. All right, let me just check and see what we got going on in the chats while we're up and about. Nothing there. Perfect. Awesome. All right. There we go. Back. Let's see. We can get rid of this screen. We got this. Let's see if we can enumerate shares. Usually I expect Nmap to do it, but sometimes Nmap doesn't. So one of the things, and I had to tell my dad this week, he was working on a course. He was trying to do a Metasploit exploit and it wasn't working. I forget which, I think it was like the PS exec module. He had a username and password, trying to log in using Metasploit so that it could just use a interpreter shell, which is a kind of easy mode. But it wasn't working. And then he did it using in packets version and it worked wonderfully. So you can always trust your tools, and sometimes um, tools just don't work. So it's always good if you have like a gut feeling or you just want to double check something, always good to use another tool. So for SMB checks, we have a couple of different tools. We have SMB client. We also have, what's the other tool? Always use it. We'll look it up because my brain doesn't work after 5 o'clock sometimes. SMB tax pen test. What is it called? SMB attack tool pen test. Let's see. Maybe they have it in hacking articles. Let's see. So we could use SMB client, SMB map. We could use, don't want to use Hydra. Crack map, that's what it is. That's what I'm trying to think of. Holy smokes, my brain's not working. I use it all the time. It actually became my favorite tool to use for SME stuff last year. Maybe it's CME. What? It's not even installed anymore? I don't think it's supported anymore, actually. I think something happened. And I don't know. I think something happened. Like their webpage has something like, excuse me, like there is a malicious fork or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what goes on with that. All right, so we're going to install it. This is just the easy way to install stuff in Kali. We just do apt install, very similar to other Linux variations. This is Debian. Ubuntu also does that. Looks like we had some errors. Perhaps. Let's see if it's still going to work for us. Yep, it's still in there. Okay, cool. We do have it. Worst thing is that I always forget syntax to everything, but it's great for you because you get to learn how to figure out what the syntax is as if you didn't know how to use the tool. So let's take a peek. So we want to use shares. That was down there. And the format is TACU, username, password. We don't have that. SMB, DSH. So target goes at the end. So this may look very unwieldy to those who are new. You'll get used to it. Just slow down. Don't look at it like it's a foreign language. Just read it. It tells you what you need to know. And some of these will just get more and more familiar. I don't know what some of them are. G file limit. I don't freaking know. The important things are stuff like target. Yeah, we want to know that. Usually I'm looking for username and password. Dash Ks if we want to do Kerberos ticket. But look for stuff that are familiar. Great thing you have AI now. Didn't have that when I got started. So lucky you. See if it works. It didn't do anything because I sent a web address. I think I want to do shares like that. Windows, relevant, domain, shares, broken pipe. Interesting. Might have to try a classic. Let's do it like this. Let's see. It should be slash slash actually. Or maybe the opposite way. Nope. Let's see. Another trick. We just look it up. Let's see. SMB client syntax. So we probably need to actually list the shares. So we can do a -L. And that's probably why I was complaining we didn't specify a share. And now, not enough. What? What is it talking about? All right, let's see. What the heck is going on here? Oh, I was doing it the right direction. What the heck? Yeah, the struggle's real sometimes. You like wake up, you're hacking early in the morning, and shit's just not going your way. Is it wanting us to do a null? Not enough characters in service. This is weird. Maybe we do try to do it. So sometimes I also want to point out that this thing hallucinates, so it may not be right. I didn't think it. Okay, there we go. That worked. Sometimes it does hallucinate. I don't remember using it in that way, but it's okay. Um, what do we see here? We see several services here. Chances are we won't be able to get into any of these $ shares, maybe IPC, but IPC doesn't really get you anywhere unless there's a specific exploit for it. But we do have this other one. I think SMB. I'm really actually confused why Nmap didn't catch this, to be honest. Let's see, Nmap, no session. See, um, no session shares. So there should be a SMB Unum shares. I think that's what I was looking for. Where we can ask it to check and it should give us all the shares. And I'm surprised that it didn't because it should have ran with the all script. So what we'll do, we should just need 445. Yep. So now I'm doing this so we don't have to scan all the ports. We won't do all. What we'll do is we'll do add this here. This is just saying utilize this script for it. And we'll see what it says. I'm just curious because I would have expected it to scan it and identify this without it. And now I'm just trying to figure out why certain tools aren't working. I would have also expected it to pop up in enum for Linux, not working. So it's very odd to me. So it's just me experimenting here. But, again, we were talking about how stuff's just made by hackers. They're not, I don't want to say they're not well written tools. I mean, they work for a specific purpose. Oh, it did work. Interesting. Hmm. Interesting. So this worked. I wonder why it didn't scan on its own. I was expecting it to do it with dash all. It's supposed to run scripts. Oh well. Interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind. Just file that away for later. So what we want to look at here is we want to see what the current user has access. So it's a null session. And so this means we can access it, right? So what can we actually access? Not this, like I said, it's the admin share. So we shouldn't have had access and we don't. This allows you to access the root of the operating system. We do not have access because of none here. Great. IPC, we do have read-write access. Don't know that it's going to get us anywhere. I don't have any attacks in my head that we could use that would get us in. This is pretty common, fairly common thing to see. But this is uncommon. So this is a interesting share that we have read write. So read write is interesting because that means while we can read everything that's in there, but we can also write to it. So if this was a real circumstance, we could potentially put a malicious file in there and get credentials back to us. Like I think there's just a link file attack today where you put a specific link file in there. And if you, like, say, have an SMB client listening, you can get people's credentials that way. So In this case, if this is the share that a bunch of users are accessing, I put a link file in there with that specific attack in mind, with the right formatting, obviously. And then I'll just get a bunch of net NTLM credentials that I can then crack. Or if admins are utilizing it, I can relay the hashes using NTLM relay X. Yeah, another tool. So always thinking about specific attacks. We do want to utilize this though. So let's go back to trying to use this. Yay. And we'll make sure we copy this. So what I will do is I'll put this in my notes. I hear noises. I think someone's home. We'll put this here just so we have it. And we can start moving forward. And we'll provide it like this. And we don't need list anymore because what we want to do is actually connect to the interface. If you hear my dog howling, just ignore him. And this is what we got. We actually do have a connection here because we see SMB. Hopefully everyone can see this. So what we have done is we have just connected to the share. So think about it like if you're in a Windows, you've ever connected to a share at work and it's in your folder, you click into it, boom, it's there. This is what we're doing, except in the command line here. We're just hacking some stuff. We're working on Relevant. So this one by the mayor on Try Hack Me. So we're really just getting going good. We just got access to a share, as you can see on the screen. So feel free to ask any questions that come to mind. Happy to answer anything. And we're just having a good time tonight. So yeah, so we have an SMB access to the share. What's the first thing we do? What do we have in here? You never know. Passwords.txt. So what we can do is we can pull this down. I'm trying to remember if it's mget or git. Git passwords.txt. Yeah, okay, great. So we grabbed it. It's going to be in the Kali directory. That's all for right now that's in here. There's nothing else. There's no directories. For those of you who don't know, these are, there's just nothing here. This means nothing. This is just like, this is this directory. This is back. So if we do like cd a dot, we do pwd, same place. So don't get anything for that. So this is the only file in here, which is good. We still have the option to write. Maybe that'll lead us to somewhere. I doubt it, but something to keep in the back of our mind. So we can go ahead and exit and check out our passwords. I need to start cleaning this thing up. So we'll cat the file. So we got a couple of things here. I look at this. Does anyone know what this means if we see these equal signs? There won't always be equal signs there, but does anyone know what that means? Have you learned any types of encoding? And then we have this one here, which may or may not be the same type of encoding. And what we'll do, we could do this in the command line, but I love showing one of my favorite tools that a lot of people don't know about. I don't know why. CyberChef. Very cool. Very cool tool. No? No answers? Come on. Well, let's say we didn't know what type of encoding this is. How could we figure it out? We could say, hey, CyberChef, use some magic. And it does magic for us. What it does, what the magic does, is it'll try to figure out what type of encoding is in here or what type of format, and it'll try to reverse it for us. What to do to find bugs. So what I would suggest is if you haven't already, check out Port Swigger's site. So that's who makes Burp Suite. For those of you who aren't familiar, which is pretty much the standard for transparent proxies for web app pen testing. They have an academy completely free, and go through that course material. You need to understand, you need to have a good foundation of web application penetration testing. And after you get that, just start signing up for one of the bounties. So you got a handful of major ones. I recommend that you read new bounties every day so that you start understanding what's possible. Start working on some of the ones that are free, like there's no money, because you're more likely to find bounties there because your professional bug bounty people don't do those because they want to get paid. But other than that, I would also recommend specializing in one or two uh, um, types of attacks. So, like some people like IDOR starting out, or cross-site scripting, or SQLI, um, things like that. Pick a couple that kind of resonate with you and work on those first, because it's kind of one of those things. If you try to learn them all, you won't learn any of them very well. And the problem with bug bounties, it's kind of popping. So a lot of the easy stuff has already been found. So you're really going to have to get fancy with your attacks to find stuff. Um, so what that means is you really do have to specialize and get that expertise in those specific types of attacks so that you can find the things that other people have missed. But totally possible. Definitely say best of luck. But yeah, check out Portswigger if you haven't already. There was a paid class that was amazing that I've done before, and I'm trying to think. Web app pen testing course. I'm trying to remember who it is. I've done like I have one from Sans. Oh, Pentester Lab. Yeah, Pentester Lab is freaking amazing. Highly recommend. Kind of changed my mind on web app pen test, and then oh, cool. Yeah, then jump in there, man, or lady, and start working. Bug Crowd, HackerOne, lots of really good stuff in there. If you're struggling finding stuff, I think both of them have a CTF where you can get invited into private programs. Private programs are much easier to work on than public bounty programs, obviously, because there's less people there. But if you've done all those, yeah, Pentester Labs is really good. If you're into OffSec stuff, OffSec has a really good web app pen testing course too. I started that. I didn't have time to finish it, but it changed the way I think about web application hacking, and I've been doing it for years. So really good stuff there. All right, so I do want to, yeah, feel free to keep asking questions as well. So if people don't know what I'm talking about, so BugCrowd and HackerOne are probably the two biggest bug bounty programs out there. And bug bounty programs are essentially where the companies will say, "Hey, I want people to find vulnerabilities in my web applications." Well, not necessarily web applications. It's mostly web app stuff, but there are normal applications as well that are up for bounties. And they say, "Hey, hack and find stuff, and depending on the bug, we will pay you." And every company has their rules of engagement, which tells you what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And yeah, that's basically how it works. So you got a Bug Crowd University here, so you can learn some stuff. But enumeration is going to be your bigger thing. So if you haven't gone through Jason Haddock's, he's probably got the best discovery stuff. And there's a couple of really good people I like, influencers. Nahumsec is really, really good. And then Stoke is really, really good as well. Both awesome. Yeah, you're welcome. I just run my mouth for days on stuff and never get anything done. Welcome to Try Hack Me, where I can only do one at a time, one per 3 hours because I take forever. But yeah, Bug Crowd, lots of really good stuff. HackerOne, lots of really good stuff. I think I had my HackerOne shirt on the other day. And so we just did it for the other one as well here. So we got two usernames and passwords. So you can see it's base64. So if we just use base64, it would have done the same. And that's what I was saying with the equal signs is that that's a pretty good indicator that this is base64. But as you can see, not every base 64 does that. This is basically what we call padding. It has to be a specific length. And if it's not, it'll just add equal signs to get to that length essentially. So that's yeah, that's how it works. I'm gonna go ahead and add it in here. And I need to add this other one. We'll grab this. Joanna Man. Is that a movie? So we have Bob and Bill here. What we can do now is spray credentials. We have a lot of options. So we could use CrackMap exec, spray credentials. We could use Metasploits. And what we want to do is one, just check to see if these credentials work. And then two, figure out what type of access we have. Once we get access, we can look at elevating our access in some way. Um, who knows what that way is going to look like. If I could stop yawning. Sheesh. All right, so let's see. So, what do we want to do? We could do Metasploit. We have Metasploit open. And it's kind of a preference when you do this type of stuff. See, we didn't get anything for directed brute forcing. Not surprised. Um, what do we want to do? Search. SMB, what is it called? Uh, forget what the module is called that we want. It's like SMB. SMB host, maybe. We could try psexec, just try to use psexec to log into stuff. Could do that. Sheesh, so much stuff. We don't need a relay. I should probably focus on like how can a normal person how can a normal person do this? Yeah. So let's go the easiest routes maybe. And again, I also recommend you take notes. So if you're new to this, right? You're starting out, you're trying to get an understanding of what hacking is, how it works, you should probably be taking notes. Okay, he did this. And if you're just sitting here watching me do this, taking notes or following a guide later, someone asks if they should use a guide. Yeah. If you don't have a big enough tool set, it's going to be hard to do this type of stuff starting out. And you just continue to build on. What I did was I just go as far as I could, and then I did a walkthrough, and I just kept doing that over and over. And eventually, I got further and further and further. And you just build up that kind of like that mental database of tools that you have. All right, so we used CrackMap earlier. I thought we used CrackMap, didn't we? Yes, we did. Okay. Yeah, taking notes. Got to. I do need to do Tash help. I need to figure out. I think we may be able to give it a list of usernames and passwords, so we don't have to do two different queries. It's like IL or something like that, probably. Let's see. Looking through here, we don't have we do have a domain, but I'm guessing it's local. It's a local account. So don't see anything. So what we're basically looking to do is try our credentials first. And then if they work, right, we have one that works. I'm assuming both of them are going to work. Then we attempt to log in with them. So this is just checking if they work, and then attempting to get a shell next with something. So we could, again, we could use PSExec, we could use WMIExec, we could even try to RDP to these if they work, if they're local administrator or in the remoting group. So it looks like we can just do one at a time. I thought there was a way to do username password list, but that's fine. So we tech U, tech P, pretty common. The only thing we have here that is going to be kind of a pain is that we are likely to run into special character issues here with these dollar signs. So we may have to escape those. And the reason I say I'm talking about them as an escape is because special characters mean different things and in different things. And in this case, exclamation marks mean something in the command line. And I can't remember if dollar signs did as well. But we'll see. And whenever we escape, we're just saying treat it like it's just the thing. It's just a character. It's not a special character. And we may need to do local. I think there was a specific one for local users only. Local auth. There we go. And we'll add this. Let's do shares and see if it does anything for us. Interesting. All right, let's try Bill here. So we have a couple of things that we maybe have been having to work through, right? So we're kind of password spraying at the moment because we have a couple of things we're trying to figure out. One, we need to know if these are local users or domain users. And two, I'm also trying to get friggin' syntax to work, but you know, is what it is. But we should be seeing something out like CrackMap should be doing something for us, and it's not, which is kind of annoying. Let's move on to a different tool. We're gonna try the same thing. I usually like CrackMap. Let's do PSExec, in packets, syntax. So this is a pretty good site too. That helps. So we can get some syntax here. And I'm going to, yeah, I'm sorry you can't see that also. I just realized, but we can see this. So what I like to do with these is I like to just build them in here instead of in the command line. And it's just the way I work. I just find it easier. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a Bob. Did the first one. This just says local. Again, we don't know if it's if it's a domain user or a local user. We don't know. And we're probably going to have to escape there as well. I think syntax is messed up because we should be getting some kind of feedback of, hey, bad login or something, and we're not getting anything. And then we'll grab Bill here. And so you do have to be careful when you're copying and pasting and doing stuff like I added extra space here. That's going to mess this up. Maybe even be able to do this without using the dot. Now, the other thing is we have to make sure PSExec is available. Is my terminal still small? I thought we were good. I can blow it up some more. No, I'm not doing crack station. We have credentials we were able to get. So I'm not cracking. I'm just spraying, trying to figure out if they'll work or not so that we can log in. No need to crack if we have credentials. We just got to figure out if they'll work. So that's what we're working on. PS exec. So I think in Kali it's impacket PS exec it is. Okay, so I'm just building my commands out in preparation for the attack. So we don't need this. We'll just do it like this. And we'll just copy and paste this in here. I hate when I do that in the new Kali. I need to look up to figure out how to get rid of these stupid characters in the front. So this is a case where it is, there are special characters. Look at that. So you can see it tried to interpret the stuff at the beginning because it's missing here. So that's a pretty easy fix. So what we'll do is we just need to escape it. And probably need to escape this one as well. And then we'll give it a go again. No biggie. So now we have it working. We just had to escape our exclamation points. Yes, that's what they're going. And what we're looking for here is, hey, you worked, hey, you didn't work, or some sort of error that we can solve. Or a something that says, hey, you got a shell. So it didn't work. There was a connection error, connection timed out. Let me just make sure our session's still live. Yeah, still live. 10 10 10 10 1 5 10 10 14 156. Just want to make sure I use the right one. 10 10 1 4 1 5 6. So timeout was unexpected. Because we know the port's open. So the question is, why is it timing out? I thought maybe it went down. Sometimes that happens. But we'll see. And we can try the other one as well. Give it a whirl. So we're still getting a connection error, which is interesting. Not what I was expecting to get. So we'll try it like this. So now we're getting some kind of goofy error. IND in a codec can't encode character 2E. I don't know what that is. Maybe the dollar sign? No, we didn't have issues with dollar signs before. There may be just like a hidden character or something in here, which happens as well. Oh, it won't even, interesting. Wouldn't think it would be the dollar signs. Give it a whirl. I mean, there could be a hidden character. There used to be a trick I would do because I would run into this all the time when I was doing the OSCP. And I would paste it in a notepad with a control shift paste, and it would get rid of all the special characters. And then I'd paste it in here. And it may or may not work. But sometimes there are like characters in the background you can't see, and they will jack your stuff up. So now we're getting what we were getting before. which is just a standard timeout error, which doesn't make sense. Like it should be responding in some way because we have all the classic ports are open. So interesting. Hmm. So we're just curious. Let's see. It's kind of odd. It's like they're like doing a gamey system. Hmm. All right, let's see what else is going on here. So what's kind of interesting is we do have an ability to place files on a host. So earlier we did look up to see that um, with IIS 10 there was a vulnerability where if you had a place to upload a specific type of file, you could get RCE, remote code execution. Um, the question is if we put it there, can we find it through the web shell? Or not through the web shell, through the website. Um, and where does it go? Hmm, that's the question. Trying to think. We would have to figure out where they would be at. Well, we can't remove the dollar sign or the exclamation because it's part of the password. So that doesn't really make sense. It's just interpreted as a special character. We could try to RDP into it first and see if that does something different. Let's see, Ramina. While I mull on whether or not, like where I can find the files hosting, trying to think of, I guess we could just try the path of the share. Let's do this first. So Ramina's is my favorite way to RDP, unless I need to do pass the hash. But otherwise, it's pretty solid. Load it up real quick. All right, now we should have Ramina. All right, and what we want to do is we do want this. See if it lets us in. You would think it would because they should have been Nmap scan. So it's not like they're blocked externally. Maybe it is. Interesting. They definitely made this one gamey. Unless it's reading extra space there. We'll see. But yeah, you can like you could have passwords with those characters in it. It just means if you use them in the command line, they may jack stuff up. So you just have to work around them. You have to escape them. That's all. Let's see. So this failed. All right. So let's try. Let's do a Hail Mary here. And let's see. Where do we do the share at? Which window? Not that window. Oh, I think it's in our, here it is. So let's try to access it like this maybe and see what happens. It's trying. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe it's working. We can try the other port now and see if it's working. What was the port? 49663. So we do them at the end here, right? No. Oops. I'm half asleep at the wheel. We add them here. Give it a whirl. Sometimes it likes to act up and you have to do another tab. Interesting. So we're not getting anything, but it's kind of weird that it's hanging. That's bizarre. Usually you'll get a fail, 404 or something like that, if it doesn't exist. But it's acting like it doesn't. It's attempting to load it as well, which is interesting. I'm kind of curious now. I almost want to look at a guide and see what's going on. Let's see. No shame in my game. I'll look at a guide. Relevant THM guide. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes I just hate fixating on a problem and wasting so much time on it. Because sometimes it's gaming, it's not realistic, anyways. But you still pick up some tricks. He base 64 in there. He couldn't RDP either. So he used X-free RDP. This is the one you can use past the hash with. So that's nice. Um, yep. They did Go Buster. Oh, it does say you can do it. You just have to give it the full path. So that's interesting. So we'd be able to leverage what we did before. It's just acting goofy. I've actually never seen something work like this. So that's a little bizarre, but that's okay. So we just need to provide it full path and it works. Maybe, maybe. Uh, right. That's all he did, I think. Let's see. Yep. Passwords.txt. Yeah. But this is also where I said sometimes it's a little goofy. Things just don't work the way they were intended. So, like, this pathway should have worked according to his thing, unless it's just super slow. This one had a connection timeout. Excuse me. So the host may be down actually. Let's try to do a connection to it. one more time. Okay, something broke in our environment. So that's why nothing's working. So let's terminate it and spin it back up. Stuff happens. So lots of things can get in the way, unfortunately. This is one of them. The machine just stopped working on us. So sad. This is also why I like to do my individual instances because it happens a lot more when you're using like community instances. Stuff just breaks. Um, and it's frustrating to the learner for sure because, well, you're sitting there trying to troubleshoot an actual attack, but the system itself is just unstable and it's not working. Is what it is. There are limitations to technology. If someone could make perfect labs, it's, maybe they will have the run of the certification in lab world. Haven't seen it yet. Everyone does this, even paid. Offensive security has the same issues. E-learn security has the same issues, or INE, I guess they are. I don't know about THM. I haven't done any labs in THM, but as far as I've seen, pretty much everyone has the same issues. Stuff happens. You go in multi-billion-dollar organizations, they have stuff drops every once in a while too. So you never know. All right, so let's try this one more time. Nothing else changes, just the IP and all the things that we do. So that worked. And that kind of worked. So it loaded, but so did we have another page that randomly loaded. What happens when we do that? Huh. Interesting. So you have to have the exact path in order for it to work. Okay, great. So what that means now, we may be able to utilize this attack we found earlier, which is, let's close these out. Yep, 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 yep. Close. And there's this interesting one. Is it this one? This is from 2014. This one we know doesn't work. Well, this is elevated privileges, but okay, we don't know that one. This one doesn't work for sure. All right. So let's see what it says. So this is active pages. We actually don't know if active pages are enabled. So we could just drop this file on there and see what happens. Good. Geez, they waited 2 years to release information on the issue. That's interesting. Okay. So we could probably, so basically what I'm thinking, we have access, we have access to the web server, right? It's up. We have the ability to drop files. We just need to figure out what type of files will be accepted and run. And we can do that with IIS. I think it's ASP files in general. So we may be able to do an ASP. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining us. So we should be able to drop an ASP file and then load it and then get a shell, or at least a command window here. So let's do that. Let's look up an ASP shell. ASP shell. I just do pen tests because sometimes words are similar. Reverse shell. Could do a reverse shell. And just so you know, this is pretty similar to what real adversaries do is they drop shells and the web servers that they can get into. And the benefit of these types of shells, believe it or not, is even if you do a password reset, you're still in because they're not really locked behind a password. They're just there. And if you know the path to your shell, you're good to go. So I do remember back in the day that there were some issues with some of these shells, but it may be fine. So all we need here is a listening host, that's us. So we just need to get our IP. If config for the win, we'll grab it, drop it in here. Do we have a interpreter? We have an interpreter shell. So that means we need to do a interpreter listener. 443, let's change that. Let's do 4443. Just in case. So we'll go ahead and run this. So MSF Venom is pretty easy in terms of developing a payload. Pretty quick, just like you saw, boom, reverse shell. And all we need to do to be able to catch this reverse shell is to set up a listener. And so we use exploit multi-handler. I only know this off the top of my head because it's been beat into my head. I use it so much. Show options. Again, we do have to look at options. There's not very many. The big thing we want to do is change the payload. Payload's this generic reverse shell. We know our payload is going to be different. It's this. So you just want to match the payload to what you did in MSF Venom. So set payload. That, and we need to match up our port. So actually, I'm going to move this over here so I don't have to keep opening and closing. Set L port to 4443. Big thing with the port, make sure it's just not taken by something else. And that should be it. It should be good. L host, we need to set L host. And then we run. All right, now we need to log back in. Well, not log back in, but so it's in Kali, it's just rev shell ASP. We just need to come in via SMB client. Oof. Just need to change the IP address to match the new one. And super easy. Backspace. What we're going to do is we're going to log into the SMB share because we have access. Then we're going to upload this file. I think upload's the right command. Yep, there we go. Upload's not one. Help. Where's the command? Put, maybe? Put. Upload is interpreter. There we go. Put. All right, so now theoretically, we should just navigate to this site and it should give us a shell. So let's see if we can set the stage for something magic. So we should see a shell pop up here when we navigate to it. If it works. If not, we just need to make modifications till it works, pretty much. Let's see. Looks like we may have just had an error with our code for whatever reason, which is okay, pretty common. Let's take a look at it, see if there's any errors in it. Cats, rev, yeah. There could be just something missing in here. Or it could be in a wrong language. We may need to do like ASP, ASPX or something like that, or ASPX. Or we need to, we may need to do a PHP one. I don't know. Perhaps. We can look at theirs and see what they did if we would just want to be lazy. Looks like it's in the same language. All right, let's see. ASPX perhaps. Let's try changing the extension. We'll just do a copy. Rev shell.aspx and let's see if this works. We'll go back to this. And I did do it slightly different than him. He did a command shell, which is fine. Rev shell.aspx. So there's a couple of different issues, right? A lot of people will use a more simplified shell to begin with when they're doing these. And the idea is that there are less issues in the way. So we go for simple first, and then we start adding complexity to our shell. This, I just went straight for a reverse shell, but that's okay. Um, and yeah, I mean that's basically the idea because if it's less complex, that means we can get something working to as a proof of concept. You hear that word thrown out a lot. We want something that just works to show that this thing is a problem, that this thing is exploitable, and then we build onto it. So yeah, I mean we may look to get something even simpler um, than that. I think there are some shells built into Kali, actually. Let's see. Let's see. Um, what's it? No, not which. Um, let's see. LS. This is search. Locate. Locate web shells. If I can spell it right. Locate web shells. And so there's a bunch of web shells in Kali. So what I'm doing is just looking for in ASPX. So this is a command shell, the same exact format we want. So let's copy this to cmd asp.aspx. And then what we're going to do is hop into it and see if there's anything that needs to be modified. I don't think so because it's a command shell, but you never know. Yeah, it looks fine. Um, so we'll escape. Excuse me, I got the hiccups now. Put, just copy this. I copy and paste a lot because I have less mistakes that I make when I do that. And now we navigate to the site. And what we're looking for is we should see a web page pop up where we can give it commands. I think. I actually didn't look at the shell that closely to see what it did. What a shame. Some of them require so it's doing a text box. So it should actually pop up and allow us to do stuff. Um, where some of them may have an argument in the actual URL. So like where you would do something like command equals blah blah blah. In this case, it's just there's a box it pops up, you click go. So we're having issues again. Interesting. I want to see if this has gone down again, because if it has, that would be annoying. So it's not even responding right now. I don't know why. Sheesh. This is a bad quality try hack me box. This is actually really poor quality. it should not be busting like this. Let's see if it maybe canceled it or something. Yeah, it's super weird. I think we have an issue where it's busted again and we have to reset. I hate to move on to a new one, but oh, we have the wrong IP address. That's why I'm an idiot. Maybe. Did have the wrong IP address though. Too funny. There we go. There we go. All right. I do want to try my other one now. That happens. I'm telling you. Middle of the night, 3, 4 in the morning. It happens. Happens all the time. I do want to try this. And I want to do it with this open. So let's do this. And let's duplicate it because we know that works. We can continue there if we want to. But I also want to show the shell. Man, no one saved me. No one recognized I was messed up. What the heck? Trying to think if anything else is messed up. No, RIP should be the same. No, it's struggling. Interesting. All right. We'll just work off this other shell then. So basically with this, we can do whatever we want, which is great. So what we can do is we can build another payload, upload it, and convert to an interpreter shell. So here, let me let me give you some words of wisdom. You want to migrate out of a web shell as soon as possible. They suck. They're horrible. They're very unstable, and a lot of things might not work the way you want them to work. But let's do the classic who am I? So IIS app pool. Yeah, makes sense. I take it back. I'm sorry, the mayor. It is stable. I was being an idiot. I think I'm going on, what is this, hour 13, 14 that I've been up. So all good. All good in the hood. All right, so let's build a new shell real quick. That wasn't where our shell was. We don't need to upload it this way, but we do want to modify the way we built the shell before. So we'll keep this just in case. We just don't want an ASP shell. This is all fine. Format, we want to do exe. And we want revshell.exe. Works for me. So we'll run this. This will produce a shell. What we'll do is we'll host it so that we can pull it down, and then we'll execute it. So what we'll do is we'll do a python-m this, just like that. And what we will need to do is listeners working, port is the same, so we shouldn't have to change our Metasploit payload. We just need to make sure it's running. And then we need to pull it down. So what we're going to do is build a command to pull it down. So we can do that with cert util. Cert util is it's just the way I always do it in CTFs. File download. There we go. All right, we're back in business. We're back in business, people. So we'll drop this on here, cert util, and we want to use the same L host for it. And our file name is going to be this. We can name it bad.exe. Why not? All right. So now what we're going to do, we do have to be careful with special characters in here because we don't want stuff to break. But I don't think there are any in here. This should be fine. Let's see. We may need to choose where to download it to because the problem could be we just don't have permissions. Let's see, cert util choose file location. The download. I think maybe we just build a path here and we can do like Windows system. Okay, yep. So we want to do Windows system temp, I think. I just check everything as much as I can when it's been late. Temp folder, see Windows temp. That's not the right. I think it's C Windows temp. I thought there was system 32, but maybe not. We will have backslashes that may be considered escape characters. So let's try that instead. Because the reason why I think it's just privileges is because we do get it to actually attempt to pull down. We do not get, let's do a dir. Actually, I was doing Windows stuff. Should be right here, bad.exe. So we don't see it there. What we can try is now this. So it is pulling. We get 2. Let me see where it's at on my computer up here. My main computer. Let's see. Man, I was sharing the whole screen today. Lucky. Maybe that's why it wasn't as big. Okay. Let's see. Just checking the path, make sure we're good. So I think we are correct. And let's see. I wish we could read this better. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Error, internal error. Oh, interesting. So let's just say, wonder what happens if we do like a C. So we could try a PowerShell approach. Ah, this one completed. So, okay. Let's see. What did we do different? Maybe we just did this. So now we just need to do a dir, this folder, just to make sure it's there. I like how execute's spelled wrong. I wonder if it doesn't even need escapes. Let's see. There we go. It didn't even need escapes. It is not there. So let's try it without escapes. Thought we may need it to. Web stuff's always kind of goofy like that. All right, so it is there. All right. Ooh, somehow it still was able to do it, print it. But okay, cool. So it is there. We got it on the system. Now we need to execute it. This is running a command. So we do want to run a command in the background. We know it's running as command.exe. So we just need to say, hey, run a command in the background. And I think it's just the dash B. cmd run command in background. So it should be pretty simple. Start/B, and then we just give it the path. I like background stuff. It just kind of separates the process. Start-B. Is that right? Oh, /B. Jeez. Of course, it's the command line. It's capital though, right? No, lowercase. I swear I haven't had anything to drink tonight. All right, so let's see if this works. Something should happen. And what I'm expecting is the shell to come back. All we did was tell it to just run it. It's a reverse shell, so it should call back. Should be good. Maybe. Sometimes things take some time. It's kind of weird that it's not coming back. I wonder if my IP changed. Hmm. 10.659.184. And yeah, IP is still the same. Interesting. We should be seeing something because this is a pretty simple payload. Interpreter, reverse. Should just run it. Actually, we don't know what architecture it is. We'll go up to the top and see. Should tell us in here. Maybe. It's not interesting. Usually in the OS, it might, but also may just be skimming over it. Huh. Okay. So I'm curious why it's not doing anything. It should just be reaching back out. Maybe we try a more simple payload. See if something's broken. Huh. There's dir slash Windows temp. Interesting. So I think AV may be on this because it's not there anymore. Which happens. And we can do some things to look to see. We are running out of time though, unfortunately. So we got to get the move on here. Um, let's see what it has as system info. It is x64, so we might have did a bad payload. But x86 should work even on x64, but I think I've had some cases where not necessarily it works. It's supposed to be able to though. So he did another ASPX reverse shell, and wonder if wonder if he ever escalates his access here. He did print spoofer there. Um, interesting. We can interesting. Well, this is I'm saying interesting because this is basically what we did before. I don't think there's much different in this AXP. The port's different. Host tune 0, which is fine. We manually did it. I'm not really sure why it didn't work. We can try their payload the same, but yeah, we shouldn't have had any issue with it. Let's see. Let's go ahead and generate their payload. Or is it an ASP? No, they did an ASPX. And then we'll do SMB client. We know that port is, we know that's not it. We'll take this. Just need to adjust this. I know why. Well, actually, I don't know why. What do we have? We have a bunch on here. So we're going to do put, and we'll do this one. And then we just need to make sure. This is just a basic reverse shell, by the way. So set payload. All we need to do is just make sure the port matches up. Tune 0 is already configured. So we just need to set L port to this. There we go. We'll run it. And then we just need to navigate to the site like we did before. So we'll just replicate this. And instead of this, we'll do this. And we should get something, which we did. Interesting. So we'll go cd slash dot slash tmp. And then we had that cert util command. So let's cert util this bad boy up. There just may be an issue with the way we did it before. And we have an issue because it's not running. So we just need to run our Python. I just saw it. There it is. Do this. Oops. Run it again. Should work this time. Then we should do an ls or dir. Sorry, dir. We see bad dir. It's still there. Okay, so we're also going to do. We're going to background the session, and we are going to set. Going to modify our payload again back to what it was, just to see if we can get it to work. And it's 4443. Set L port to 4443. Run -j. This should run it in the background. Beautiful. And then we'll do sessions 1. And then what we'll do is start b bad.exe. And it should work unless there's like a AV or something on here, which there very may well be, because I saw it hop off, or I saw it the file removed before. But it's interesting, like we're not seeing anything come in here. So I may have completely murdered my session. Yeah, I may have murdered my session. Interesting. This is very interesting. Okay, sure. You can go about the other way. We're just going to reset everything back like this. Run it. This should get us our shell back. There we go. All right, so there's that. I'm going to try to finish up so we can do some blue team stuff as well. Basically, all he did was then he looked to see that he had SE impersonate. So he did that with his command shell, who am I /priv. Yeah, and you can see it's enabled here. And you can just look up what you can do with this with Google. Jeez, my posture is sucking in here. Here, pin test, and you can read all about it. Token impersonation. Yep. So these people are using one of the potatoes. There's print spoofer. This print spoofer one does not work anymore. Not as is. It just gets caught. I mean, is what it is, right? But there are others. Let's see which one he used. He used one that was already compiled. So we can do that. So let's go cd slash windows slash temp. Put in temp, and we'll do. How is he doing wget? I just saw that when I was thinking about it. Oh, he did it and then transferred it. Yep, got it. This is a nice part of the interpreter shell where you can just move it. So we'll just upload it. You could also use cert util to download it. But it's there. So like if we want to do like this, we could just move to it We could just cert util just like we did bad.exe and it would work. I'm actually curious if it's in here. So there has to be AV or something that's eating that file, which is kind of weird because it's not like it's a hard one, uh, you know, but whatever. Good stuff. So we'll cd. You would think if it would eat the interpreter payload, it would eat this, but they may have a process running on there that's simulating AV perhaps. It's just kind of weird that it's eating the bad.exe, but not eating a well-known print spoofer file. It's kind of odd. All right, so then we just do print spoofer 64.exe -I-c cmd. Where am I? So basically what you saw it do, it ran it and you're telling it to open a new command shell or new CMD process, and it's going to elevate that process. So you see it's specifically mentioned SC impersonate. That's what it utilized to do it. And that's why you see a new shell open up basically under here with this. So it's a new CMD. And Women Who Am I is in T authority system. So that's why. So it's still super annoying, and we may just play with it and see if we can get the shell to work as well. So we'll see. All right, let's go ahead and get the flags, and then we can play a little bit more. So we need to go get all the flags. So cd /users /administrator. Should be on desktop actually. I don't know why I stopped there. Dir cat root.text. Sorry, type root.text. We'll do that. And this is this flag. And we have one more to do. The other one maybe under the like another user. Should be cd /users. Dir. Probably Bob. cd Bob. Type. So let me just add this here. And we can say we're done. As a really poor, well, that was a medium. Interesting. How do I just go back to relevant? There we go. All right, I just added some time. Yeah, I am very curious why our shells weren't working. And it's kind of interesting that we do have Bob. We had a credential, so they were throwing us off. I'm wondering if what other methods people were using on this one. So this is one of the things I definitely recommend people do too, is if you finish it, cool. Then just go through, see if you can find other people's examples of what they did. So she used MS17010 and it did work. Huh. So that's a fun one. She just used a different version of it. See if we can find one that works. I'm curious now. MS 1710 POC. So what's funny though, Eternal Blue should give you. I've never seen it not give you local admin when you run it, but whatever. And I wonder if maybe we can just force. No, we want to background. Wonder if there's a way to force it to just do it, because it was saying there wasn't a match, which is a lie. So if we can say verify arc. So we got about 30 minutes left, so feel free to ask questions if you have any questions. And yeah, we'll answer what we can get to. Verify arc faults. Arc faults. Verify targets faults. There you go. Let's see if it'll work. Oh, we're using the wrong target again. Let's go back, fix our target. Going to show targets here. So I think we said we had a 2016 target. And we'll just capture that over here. And maybe that's why it didn't work, even though 2016 is vulnerable. Let me get rid of that one. That may not have been built. So this is privilege escalations. Could have probably tried that. It may not have been built into that particular into Metasploit itself. All right. I wonder which one she utilized. Let's see, where is it? So she did MS 1710. Which one does she do? So there is a 2016 here. So maybe one of these other ones actually will do it. use 10. Show targets. Show options. So targets are different on that one. Set L host to tune 0. Port's fine. Share is fine. Need to set our host to the correct place. Done. Access denied. What are we missing here? Nothing. Interesting. So let's play with the one she used. It's a nice little Python script. I say it's a she. I don't know. And let's download it. And for this, just need to do, I should probably look at it. We can see if she changed anything. Let's speed things up here. So she just used the Bob stuff. Creating file upon that text. Where's it getting the R shell? Let's take a peek at the file itself here. Let's take a peek here. ls cat. Oh, did it? Oh, it is my SMB. Okay. Oh, my energy is dropping. I should have had some coffee. Here we go. I'm just taking a peek. Oh man. So it is using in packet for some stuff. That's pretty common. Utility. Looking through here. Don't know what this is down here. I don't know what's going on with this. So this is obviously the target. It's interesting. Let's see. Eternal Blue, 2016 server. Let's see what we got here. So here we go. So we do have Eternal Blue right here. Says it does affect Windows 16. So we may be able to use this one. Let's give it a whirl. I think we just update the username and password and we should be good. Let's see. Oh, this one actually has a near zero crash. That's cool. And I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. Let's see, impersonate. So it doesn't have any instructions about the user, like why it needs it. So we'll try to run it twice. We'll say, let's run it once without the user, and then the second time we'll feed it one user, then we'll feed it the other one, just to see if there's a difference. Because remember, we got two usernames. So we'll give it a go, see what it does, and yeah, see what happens. Let's see, where did it go? Looking for a Python script. Maybe it was in download CD, downloads ls. And it's Python 42, that's, and we need to feed it the right target. So let's do that. See what happens. Is this the right one? 42315. 42315. So this is correct. My guess that this is Python 2, and we just may need to do pip install MySMB. But we can troubleshoot this. This is a good opportunity for learning. I should just say import it, pip install this. So pretty straightforward. The problem is that you probably need to specify the version of pip. Always a good time. Let's see here. Command out error Python egg info check logs invalid command egg info. See what happens if you just do pip install. Same thing. Let's do this. Let's see. This may take a little bit longer than I expected. I thought we were just going to be able to try it out. That worked. All right. All right. Okay. Maybe because it's running Python 3 and it's Python 2. See, already satisfied. No module name packet. Let's see, Python pip to install in packet. So it could just be that it's not in packet's not available for Python 2, which is fine. It's weird. All right, so let's look at our errors one more time. Sheesh. This is why I hate Python. All right, so we tried to run it as this. This is as Python 3. Say no module, name my SMB. Let's try that. Let's see. Looks like someone had the same issue with with a similar exploit. Oh, hmm. Let's see. Python to install in packet. We may be able to resolve it with just um, installing old school in packet. I said this on a prior stream where everything's pretty much converted to Python 2, and it does cause some breaking changes, unfortunately. And it's just stuff we have to deal with, sadly. And there's just different requirements. Some are using old. There's ways to do this where you basically set up an individual environment for the different scripts if you wanted to. So you don't have to deal with installing these packages that don't match other uh, Python scripts you're trying to run. It actually becomes a whole cluster and painful. Really don't feel like dealing with that tonight. So let's just move on. We'll deal with it if we have to in another one, but it's too late. I don't want to deal with it. Let's see if we can do like a quick blue team challenge. Let's see, something easy. Here's a Linux one. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. Got a join room. And start machine. Oh, it's one of these. Oof. Yeah, 10 minutes to do easy one. Let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. I was wondering if we were going to get the spammer. Super quick. Oh boy. Address shown in 20 seconds. All right, let's go take a look and see what we got going on here. All right, discovered a compromised system. Taunting us suggests multiple persistent mechanisms. Okay, easy. Let's read what it says. I must say, it's been a thrill dancing through your systems. You lock the doors. I pick the locks. You set up alarms. I waltz right past them. Blah, blah, blah. They sprinkled a few persistence, giving you a chance to find them. Each one has a clue because where's the fun in a silent hack? Time is on the side, always running like clockwork. Oh, I think these are the clues. So probably maybe a service or auto starts. Secret handshake gets me in every time. That almost makes me think of port knocking, but probably not that. Whenever you set the stage, I make my entrance. I'm not sure what that means. I run the big dogs booting up alongside the system. So that's a startup item, probably. I love welcome messages. Interesting. So maybe that's What's that one? It's one of the ones that when you start up allows you to pop a shell. Okay. Oh, this I was thinking Windows the whole time. But this is Linux, and I saw Linux at the start. Okay, so I think this is the system itself. And I think that, yeah, okay, so this is the system itself. So time is on its side, so probably cron jobs, I would guess. So we could do this by saying cron tabs. Cron tab. Cron tab tech L, maybe? Maybe? Wow. Cron tab list. Cron tab tech L. Okay. So do this again. Well, I can't speak. Okay, go away. Let's get rid of some of this other junk. All right. So what we're looking for is something that's up that looks super sketchy. And it shouldn't have one of these. So it looks like we have 3 here. We have a web sockify. Don't know what that is. We can look that up. VNC is running. What's on port 5901? Could be. So web sockify is formerly part of no VNC. Translates WebSockets traffic to normal socket traffic. So maybe we can do a PS. So let's see what it says here. Saying time is on my side, always running like clockwork. What's crazy is I don't see the time for it. Reboot sudo. Each one has a clue. Okay. Let's see. All right. Is this a live challenge? When was this released? It was created 34 days ago. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to do this one. I don't want to really ruin it. So sad. Sorry, try hack me. Sorry, other people. Didn't mean to spoil anything. That's fine. Yeah, cron tabs is interesting, though. I don't really understand And I'm just looking at this now because I don't understand why we're not seeing the beginning, unless it's all one line. Because I thought there's supposed to be like a time stamp at the front, but maybe there's a way to do it without the timestamp. This is all on a reboot too. You can just look around and play with stuff. I'll try not to do any answers. Let's tag LA desktop. Nothing hidden. LS tag LA downloads. cd/home and Ubuntu. So some things you would look at typically is like bash history, but it's going to dev null, so it's not very big. But we may also look at like bash RC. Although based on the clues, I don't think it would be bash RC. Because he's saying time is on my side, running like clockwork. So I would think cron job. Secret handshake gets me every time. So this is making me think maybe SSH or LS. SSH. Making cat/authorize keys. Are Aries. So we got a couple in here. Whoever Aries is. Maybe that's the secret handshake. There's some goofy stuff you can do with SSH in general. But whenever you set the stage, I make the entrance. Could be like actual service. So we could say list services Ubuntu systemctl. So we could do this, maybe, if it'll let us. Really? Can't copy and paste. And just so I would expect it to stand out because it's easy. Cups, whoopsie path, maybe. Never seen that one. Cups is I've seen before. Cron, we just looked at cron. Slice, that's interesting. They're just redoing it over and over. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think we are going to end it for today. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll do some do some other stuff. We'll see you again next Thursday. Bring any questions you have, any topics you want to discuss. We can spend some time on it. I think we spent a lot of time answering questions this time, but we'll see you next time around. Check out the new podcast that went live, one on C-Suite Cyber, and then we had another one go live on Mike Small Podcast. We'll be recording again next week and should have another couple coming out. All right. So see you around. Ask questions. I'll do some videos for you. Till next time.